Hey guys, it's Ash and P.
Hey, welcome to a bonus edition of Swap Real Life with Ash and P with
Jace and T.
Oh,
Hello there.
Okay, so this is our bonus edition. We wanted to bring our husbands in really quick because we were sitting around the table as we do many nights, and we were talking about a specific subject. So you guys brought up like the friend zone, and we were kind of talking about the friend zone. And so from a woman's perspective, I will say like friend zone is a guy that you like as far as like you like their personality, you like them, they're cool, you're comfortable with them, but you just like hang out with them. So what takes
you feel safe around them?
Okay. So
right? Is that a thing?
So what takes you out of the friend zone into something more? And why do girls stay in the friend zone? What do guys stay in the friend zone?
Or what happens when you
Have you guys ever been?
You hit the friend
Because I
zone
feel like
and you miss your window.
We were friends before we were anything.
Oh yeah, there was total friend
for
zone.
a long time.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't even like a
How
friend
the hell
zone.
did you get out of the friend zone?
You got to take that divine intervention and that leap of faith. You got to take that leap of faith. So I feel if I were to be a gambling man, I would say that women assign the friend zone a lot more than the men.
Yeah, that's it.
Women feel safe. They want to feel in an environment that's safe. They want to hang out with people that they feel safe, and it's totally understandable. I mean, it's totally realistic. It's like but with men, we're not that complicated. We're not.
You're
We
cavemen.
don't. We huh?
You're cavemen.
I mean, essentially,
Basic.
we're basic.
Basic.
And I just think that it's like way less of a scale for men than it is for women when it comes to the friend zone. So I have a theory with regards to certain things that align with friend zone, friends. It's not even a theory. It's just like a mindset.
Do you feel, hold on, really quick, do you feel like you were the most in the friend zone that you've ever?
I've always been in the friend zone. My whole life I was a friend zone.
But because, and I say this because I really do think like he was in the friend zone.
I am friends with, and this is ridiculous because it's like my whole life I've been friends with everyone. I've been friends with girls, I've been friends with boys, and it's just
so nice to be popular.
I am, but I always have had the mindset I don't want anyone to not like me. Okay, I've never wanted anyone to not like me, and there have been people that don't like me, and for whatever reason. But there's this, there's a I don't know. It's not a stigma, but it's
It is kind of.
Like I just look. I don't want drama. I don't want whatever. I just want to have a good time, and I want everyone around me to have a good time. Right? So when it comes to being friends, if someone doesn't like me, what's the reason? Why doesn't someone like me? Why,
You care about that?
I don't care about it, but I want to figure out why. Like what happened? Like who is that person?
Okay.
Who am I? And what did I say?
Yeah.
So I analyze it, right?
Yeah.
So having said that, I don't know. I have a different perspective about the friend zone because anyone can be locked in the friend zone, right? Anyone can be in the friend zone. You grew up with someone when you were kids. You are best friends with someone out of circumstance. When you grow up and you get older, your kids are friends or whatever. Like, there's friends. There's people that you are socializing with. There's people you actually enjoy, right? They're usually people that you actually have a good time with. And for a guy being more simple, I feel like there's less of a guard in a sense that, well, if I'm having a good time with someone, if I'm enjoying the company, then how can I get over that hump? And what is this hump? Is it a stigma? Is the hump a stigma of I can't hang out with my friend, or is there's obviously other boundaries that prevent you from doing that, prevent you from exploring that relationship, or prevent you from continuing that friendship. And timing is a huge thing, right? Like, you guys feel free to chime in anytime.
It's true.
Like, I feel like timing is an essential element to it, because sometimes the timing is just off.
Yeah.
Timing just doesn't work out, and the hyperbole of syncing and everything of that nature is different. But sometimes it just takes a little bit of risk too. It takes a little bit of jumping outside of your comfort zone. Priscilla and I had a unique situation with our relationship.
Yeah.
And in a sense, we were arch enemies for a very, very long time of our relationship.
Yeah. My man over here was like very analytical forever. And he also was very like, in my mind, he was very young and like he's just carefree, and
even though I'm a little bit older,
like party, a few.
I was less mature. You say young. She's 6 months younger than I am. I was less mature. Yes, September to March. Come on, think about it.
Okay.
Half birthday, September 19th. Come on, no one ever celebrates my half birthday. By the way, that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah, we do.
Less than
We
6 months.
celebrate your life on it.
But I will say that I think because of the way I grew up, I just always imagined like what I needed, what I was, what I felt would probably kind of fall in line with someone that was much older. I'm an old soul in the sense of like I am very like old fashioned in a lot of ways. I believe in like the older
Traditions.
I am very traditional, and I am very like, I grew up, I guess maybe hard knocks. I don't know. It's like, it's just kind of like, you can't take anything personal. You have to fight for what you want. You have to get what you want. You work for what you want, and you'll get it. You'll get it at the end. Whether it's whether it's up here or it's up here, it's still your end result, but you have to work for it.
And you felt like he didn't work.
And I didn't feel like I felt like.
Well, first off, there were other boundaries besides.
Right. Yes. There was.
I was in a very young and shoot from the hip mentality when I met Priscilla.
You were still in college. You were still in the college route.
I was still there. And Priscilla was in. Priscilla had.
I did not go. I went to city college, and I did not go off to a 4-year college. So You had your baby. I mean, honestly, there were a lot of things prior to our relationship. I got married. It was a very different life than what you were growing up in, and we were the same age, and we were growing up, but it was like this.
We were on different. If growing up in a perspective we're at height levels, Priscilla's growing up. She had to grow up a whole lot younger than I did.
Yeah.
I had a lot more leeway here because I didn't have another human dependent on me, right? She did, and she was in a relationship, and I respected that. And I actually grew to be friends with her and her family and everything like that along the way. Where the stigma comes in is, I think Priscilla and I still maintain that I don't know, perpendicular level of friendship. And even though her life had shifted and my life had shifted in different degrees, right? I think that it came to a head in a sense where when it came time, when it doesn't sound like an appropriate time, right? It doesn't sound to an appropriate time, but timing is everything.
Mm-hmm.
The time perspective is everything. And in her previous marriage and her previous life, the timing was at a different level of mine, right? And having the history that we had where we were friends with each other, we did do things outside of work with each other. There is a questionable level of these boundaries that you're supposed to cross or not, right? And I think that's what my point is in saying that friend zone and the appropriate thing to do or not do is a stigma that is basically in the eye of the beholder.
It is.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And by all means, I respected Priscilla's marriage, and I wasn't even, I mean, honestly, when I say we were enemies,
I remember
Priscilla definitely laid the boundary clear, and I not to say that I made an attempt, but without even me making even an attempt at anything, the boundary was clear that she was about her marriage and her life and everything, and I respected that.
And did you, at that point, did you feel like things could have been more with you guys, or was that just not even in your head?
No,
It
not
was
even
really
in my
just
head.
friend, like,
Not
just
even
like,
in my head, and I mean it to my soul. It's like I can't even talk to her. There was nothing.
It
Like,
was literally
where you were in your life may have been not the best spot. I didn't know that. I know that maybe I know that now, but where you were, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I respected your marriage, and I respected your child, and I respected everything that you were there.
Think for me,
and I was a supporter of it too. At the same time, I mean, I feel like I was.
I mean, I feel like I was a supporter of myself and my marriage, and I protected it as much as I could. And I was like, I'm not letting anyone in and knowing what's going on with me. And I feel like his friendship was pure, like coworker. We go out or we have lunch or whatever. He knows I'm married. Like, he never tried to cross the line. I never, like, it was never anything like that. It just wasn't. Like, he didn't go there, I didn't go there. There was never any reason to go there. And that's why
I need to add this. I need to add this too. Like, personally, I wasn't in a frame of mind where I felt even any sort of confidence to go after anyone. I mean,
wow.
So not
to
even
just set the record straight, I was 315 pounds. I was heavy. I had a good time. Like, I was fun. I was a good spirit and everything. But I was not in any means a fucking sharpshooter by any means. I was a. I'm not. Like, I just wasn't.
That was never our relationship. I mean, we've talked about it before on the podcast where I
wasn't going after anyone. Is what I was saying at that time.
With other people.
And Priscilla did. With friends, family, and it.
Because I thought you were a really good person. I just never saw you in that light. And I guess this whole, like, bonus podcast is really just to say, like, it's not that
there's stigmas.
There's
stigmas for people, and they're socially. There's both social stigmas and personal stigmas that you potentially have to overcome. The social stigmas are obvious in our sense for Priscilla and I, where we were friends before we became anything. And we both had to deal with that in our minds. We had to say, okay, am I willing to take a risk for this? Like, personally for me, am I willing to take a risk knowing that she's probably going to shoot me down because she's, coming out of a relationship with her family, right? Like with her ex-husband. And we're friends. So I'm in the friend zone. So there's a stigma. 2, I have to overcome her stigmas. And 3, she has a daughter, which is another stigma for my family and having to overcome, and their acceptance of her and her family that she has. So there's a lot of
And you're
things.
baby.
And I'm the youngest. I mean, I'm whatever. Like, my brother's married at this time. Both my sisters are all married, and they all have children.
I'm married. I have a child.
So how was
all
your
this
family like? I'm assuming everything was fine, but like, how was it like when you introduced PMT to?
Oh,
Like nothing.
my family was like
Like
automatically they were on her side. Like they just felt that she was a better person than I am. Right? I mean, it's.
It was very easy, which was not. I mean, I go in like I'm like
guarded, ready,
ready,
Right.
like let's come at
And
me, let's
honestly,
go,
and
go.
honestly,
And it was like
my siblings were cool. But the real test is my parents.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Right? My siblings
Yes.
are going through what they're going through. They kind of are more
they
relatable.
get it. They're
Even though they're like
no, they're more. I think they were more like
right. Well, that's what my mom was like too. It's like, oh my god, oh my god. My dad was like, my dad had to have been thinking like, dude, you're 315 pounds.
And you're gonna
What's
get
the catch, right?
But at that point, so my question is, he said he was in the friend zone. But in your head, what are you thinking? Are you thinking
You have stigma
feelings
in
for
yours.
him? But
I think it kind of hit me. I mean, it hit me like an ocean wave. It was like I think I saw him for like the still water that he was, and it was like, yeah, he's a great friend. He's a great friend. It's great. It's awesome. I enjoy having lunch with him. No big deal. I didn't think anything outside of a friendship with him, and then everything kind of happened, and it was like, whoa, hold on, what? I'm not even thinking that I'm like that we're on the same page at all.
so were you not on that page yet, or you just didn't know you were on
I
that
had
page?
just got done, I think, telling him that, like, I said, I just think that, like, where I am in my life, like, I'm going to have to date kind of older men. Like, that's kind of where I felt like I was. I've said a lot of times on the podcast, I'm an old biddy. Like,
I just want to ask you that too.
Old men to me are totally fine because I'm not trying to party it up.
Right.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm fine with an old man.
Well, I feel like when
He
you
has a job. If he's
Right.
if he's successful, if he has,
Well, and she would even identify some targets, and I'm like, oh man, that's weird.
I know he's like,
I'm like, really? That's
so
kind of
him,
weird.
I'm like, I don't know. He's like stable. He has,
well, you have a kid.
job.
And to me, again, you come into this, and you're okay, you're at whatever, and you hear her saying this, and you're like, yeah, I guess. I mean, okay, you've been through it. You've been through the ringer. You've been through party, time. Like, you've been through party boy, whatever. And you're like, okay, you just want stability. You want constant, right?
More constant.
I'm like, that's weird, but
But
okay.
I think that comes with a certain maturity level with men, and I think it happens at different levels.
It
with
does,
different men.
and I think that what Tony taught me was it's not about the age; it's about the person.
Right.
And so you can be very mature at a very young age, or you can be very immature at a very old age.
Right.
It doesn't really matter. It's just finding the person that fits your path.
Right.
And I never thought that finding someone my age was going to be in the cards. After everything I went through, I was like, there's no way I'm going to have to date guys.
Well, and you have a stigma because you're a mother of one. And there's another thing. It's like, okay, who's going to want my baggage?
I was like, I come with baggage. Like, it's not like to
it's
say
a daunting task.
It's not to say like I don't love my child and it's not a gift. It's that when you look at it from a perspective of someone else coming into it is.
And I will say, like, okay, so let me say this because this is something that's been hitting my mind like more recently. When this is gonna sound weird because it's gonna bring in classes. Okay, it's gonna bring in classes.
Priscilla and I were
No. It has nothing to do with that. Okay, if we were all loaded, you having a child would mean
nothing.
No big deal. No big deal.
You could.
If we were all loaded and we have our children and we were to split up, it would mean nothing because it's the financial burden is a big component of it. You have to think of that, right? But for you as a working mom, entering singlehood, where you have to basically take care of your daughter, he is a good contributor, right? Like the ex is a hard worker. Ex is a hard worker, and he's been a good contributor. And you've had that, right? You've had that. It hasn't been always whatever candy canes and gumdrops, or whatever you want to say. But at the same, when you're talking our class level, it is a factor.
Yeah.
When you're older, when you're got 10,
yeah, it's not.
You know,
it's not that I don't take whatever you have.
Not older. Did I say when you get older? I meant when you get wealthier. It's less of an issue. When you get super wealthy, when you get super wealthy, it doesn't mean as much, right? Like it doesn't. Like who's financially responsible isn't as much of a factor.
Okay, but we have to wrap this up. So what's your point?
Are we wrapping up the whole thing? Because I wanted to circle back to something.
Okay, I'd like to hear that.
Okay, so the factor is our stigmas. You have stigmas no matter what. You have stigmas of when is the right time? Will there be a right time? Am I the right person? Are they the right person? The stigma is going to feel right to you no matter what. What you and your gut tells you what you should do no matter what influences are coming outside. You have the right decision in your mind. You know what you probably are going to want in that stance, right? So you have the friend zone. There's different zones that you have, right? And people set these up for no apparent reason. They're set up for no apparent reason. The friend zone, the hookup zone. I'm only doing this to whatever, right? Like to bridge a gap until I'm in freaking dating season in January or whatever.
Right.
And if anyone wants to record this, they can. They can feel free to do it. But I'm not saying I'm for the recording side of it. I'm just saying that if you can overcome these stigmas, if you can get past them, if you truly feel like the person you're supposed to be with is your best friend, there's a good reason for it. Because as Ashley and Priscilla have said in their last podcast,
apparently my side wasn't recorded.
Priscilla has a best friend, I know.
Look, we talked about it.
I've ended up with my best friend. J Rock has ended up with his
I've ended up with Tony's best friend also. Look,
it's supposed to be it.
I'm just saying, if you can overcome the stigmas of friendship or
and the friends
whatever, or
whatever
it's like my brother, or they feel like that that sounds weird. It's gonna sound really weird, but you put that on yourself to say that they feel like they're my brother.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you feel like you're supposed to do that. It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And Priscilla and I were good friends, and you know, her relationship and everything were what they were, and we were good friends, and we respected that. But at the same time, after all that time and everything happened, you have to come to a crossroads, and you can either make the attempt to be with your best friend, or you can choose to bypass that and always look back and wonder if that best friend that you passed up was the best thing for both of you to have been the best people that you could have been together.
Yeah.
That was some like Socrates stuff right there, Tony.
It's Socrates.
Yeah.
I
I enjoy hearing from you.
Jason, if you could just stop talking so much, and we'd appreciate it.
Your advice at the friend zone.
I did tell you, I did say that when we went on our first date. I wasn't looking for a boyfriend.
This bitch over here, she's like, oh, whoa, I'm not looking for anything at all. This is just dinner. I was like, okay, whatever.
But I was more serious about it. I talked about it a lot. I was like, yeah, I'm not looking for a boyfriend. I'm going to be single. Like, I'm going to focus on me. Blah, blah, blah. Da, da, da.
And what did you say?
Okay.
Want to come watch a
Let's
movie?
see how it goes. See where it goes.
Sprung some J-Rock charm, bam. There you go.
You courted her.
I did.
You courted her.
He was not a good quarter. But we'll get into that discussion.
Yeah, I feel like we will.
But
so
they're still together.
How many years?
Being married.
14
Married.
14 married, how
18.
many together? 18?
Yeah.
18. Damn.
No, that's time.
Fuck.
Do you hear him?
Oh my God, we've been together.
How old have we been together?
11?
Dang.
Together 11, married 5?
No. Was it your 5-year anniversary this year? It was, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Just for the record, the male remembered that.
Really
It's just because I
It's
calculated
been
it
a long
faster.
time, and and she's very busy at work right now. Okay?
Ah.
Yeah.
But I will say this. So, I agree. Like, you can't get stuck in the friend zone in your own mind because it's
But it's easy
do
to
that.
get
It's
stuck
easy
in your
to do
mind,
that.
right?
It's easy to do that.
It's comfortable. You're not
It's
taking
so
any
comfortable.
risk, like you said.
I had a lot
You
of
had to take
conversations.
on the
I had a lot of conversations in my head, right? Like, it's not just me. It's, at this point, it's not just her.
Right.
She's got a daughter, right? Like, you've got a daughter at the time that it's happening. I'm thinking of like, well, what are my mom and dad going to think? What are my sisters and brothers? I'm the youngest, so I'm like, well, what is Drew going to think? What is Megan going to think? What is everyone going to think? And
You're the old hag.
Fucking old hag loser.
Like,
I mean, I'm like,
I don't know.
8
Like,
years old.
I just feel like, I don't know. Like, it's like when I was dating, like after my divorce, I'm like, who the fuck's gonna want to be with me when I have?
You did let the girls run
I
around like
have
a bunch
2
of little
kids.
hoodlums. And he let them run around the mall like a bunch
I
of
did.
hoodlums.
I sure the fuck did. But whoever I talk to, I'm like, or whatever. I'm like, I have 2 kids, and it's like, you know.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I know. I'm just working on myself. Just focusing on me.
I'm around myself.
but here we are, and then it's like you've got to get over that. You've got it.
I never would have. I think as a female, I would have never made the move.
Yeah.
It had to be the guy.
I wouldn't have.
Because I don't think I would have had the confidence to do it. So to have a little bit of confidence as a guy goes a long way. And if you just take that leap, it may be all you need.
Take that leap of faith, yes.
Maybe all you need. Now I'm like, the girl that was like, I don't need any money, I don't care. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
I keep her. At least I keep you like thinking about that. Like, do you need someone? Do you need someone? I just spent 10 or 8 days, days overseas.
Yeah.
Trying to convince her.
Now it's like, oh my god, it doesn't work without him. I need him. I need him here. I need to like focus. I can't.
And for the men that actually take that leap and get there, sometimes that little reminder helps them keep, that in perspective that they might need you. They might just need you.
They do.
Yeah.
Well,
But just as much as you need them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thanks for having a little bonus podcast.
Yeah.
It was
Chat
like,
fest.
how many minutes?
I think it's like 30 something. I don't know. My eyes aren't as good as they used to
I
be.
know.
They
I'm not
forced
20
us.
anymore.
They forced us to do it, but
We did.
we were willing.
We did.
They do.
Right, someone has to press stop.
No.
So do I.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Jackie,
No.
you're the worst.
No.